on this campus, and also just to give us some, I know, one is just to have a general record of everyone who's attending, so that if there's any correspondence that we need to send out, we have a record of your attendance. We can add you to that list. Also, there's a separate sheet over that Angie is holding to my right. That is the speaking sheet. If you wish to speak during our public comment period, I would invite everyone to sign up in that sheet, and we'll give you recognition early in the agenda. We'll give another minute or two. All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you've had a chance to sign in both to the attendance sheet as well as the sign-in sheet for the public comment period. It is 2:02 on Tuesday, the March 24th, and we'll go ahead and call this meeting into order. This is the Metropolitan Housing Trust Fund Commission meeting, and pursuant to the provisions of 2.68.030 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws, please take notice that the decisions of the Metropolitan Housing Trust Fund Commission may be appealed to the Chancery Court of Davidson County for review under a common law writ of certiorari. An appeal must be filed within 60 days after entry of a final decision by the board. Any person or other entity considering an appeal should consult with an attorney to ensure that time and procedural requirements are met. All right, we do have a quorum, so we'll go ahead and continue with our agenda. Approval of the minutes. This was shared with you in your packet. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to review those. Were there any amendments or comments on the minutes as shared? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve. We have a move to approve the minutes. Is there a second? And a second, thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. We are now entering our public comment period. I believe over to my right, Angie had the list for those who signed up. So, Director Hubbard, do we have anyone who signed up to speak?
Yes, we have several. First is Sheri Stinson with Habitat for Humanity. If you'll come to the center and turn your green light on to speak, please.
There we go. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having all of us, and thank you for the work that you do. I want to kick us off with kind of a funny story. I was asked to come tell you all what I said to the Metro Council meeting a month or two ago, and it's this. And we opened up our applications for our new subdivision in Antioch, Bellaterra, a couple months ago, and we had 5,000 applicants who came to our website to apply in the first 15 minutes. And it crashed our system. And I said that to the Metro Council. It got picked up by the media, and I go into work the next day, and Danny Herron, my CEO, says, "You got to quit exaggerating. You know, the media picked up your soundbite." And I said, "Danny, that was no exaggeration. We had 5,000 applicants in the first 15 minutes. So I just want you to know how grateful we are for the work that you do and how important the Barnes Fund is for us. We use the Barnes Fund for a lot of land development infrastructure costs. And I kind of wanted to run through what those look like, because I want you to see how hard it is for us to continue to put affordable housing into the market. So we just finished Park Preserve in 2025. Our land cost and our infrastructure costs were $160,000 per unit. So if you take that, and that means our house cost came out to $330,000. So we have Bellaterra coming up in Antioch, and our land development for that, because we have a few more houses, is $140,000. So that's making the house's price out at $290,000. So Habitat, and I counted this before I left. Last year we had, this is where I might exaggerate and add one more to make it 100, but we had 99 contributors in our capital stack. That's foundations, that's you all, that's faith and entertainment industry, people who are trying to help us get affordable housing. And when you have numbers like this, it makes it extraordinarily hard without the amount that you all, I hope, are asking for in the mayor's budget, which is the $30 million. That's in the UHS. We fully support that. And we want you to know that that's an incredible, there's not much more we can do. If we have 100 funders who are helping us and we have infrastructure costs like this, which if you do the math on that, a third of that should be where your house costs come in, which is $400,000. So us keeping the houses at $300,000 means we still have to find gap funding, because most of our homeowners have to mortgage at about $250,000. So on top of finding funding for $300,000, we also have to find gap funding to another tune of $50,000 to make this pencil to get affordable housing into the marketplace. So I just wanted you all to see kind of what that looks like from the inside out. And I want to thank you all for the work that you do and tell you how vital it is that we continue to get some help, because it won't work without you. Thank you.
Thanks, Sheri.
Next, we have Eddie Latimer with Affordable Housing Resources.
Hey, thank you for this opportunity. I really want to thank you too. I know all of y'all that are on the commission, this is your time. And so you're voluntarily here. We appreciate that you put this effort and energy into what you're doing. So thank you. And thank you, staff, as well. I would really like to request that the Barnes Fund be fully funded at $30 million. This will simply enable us, your affordable housing industry, minus a few players, to build more affordable units that we can prove we have the capacity to build. So it's not an issue of can you do it? Yeah, we can do it. We just can't do it because we don't have the tools we need. This is one of three main tools we need. The Unified Housing Strategy, the city's recent housing study that addresses creating affordable housing, specifically recommended the city to fund the highly successful Barnes Fund in 2026 and 2027 at $30 million. This is a study that we were told not to move forward in our strategic plans at home, with our industry, with our company, with our boards, until this plan was released, and that took 8 months. So we just lost time and gave up time for the issue of being a team player. The Barnes Fund provides precious and greatly needed subsidy funding for the development of affordable housing, and to date, it has produced 6,000 new and rehabbed affordable homes and apartments for Nashville's workforce and for our extremely low-income residents. In addition to directly funding affordable homes, the Barnes Fund has enabled nonprofit developers to leverage over $10 in bank and private funding for every $1 you award us. This would mean the Barnes Fund budgeted at $30 million will enable us to raise $300 million to build the needed affordable housing. The affordable housing industry could easily, and this is a side, deploy $600 million in the next 2-3 years, the period of this grant period. But $15 million is not going to do anybody justice. It's not going to give us what we need as a city. It's not going to give us what we need as a community. And it's not going to anywhere come near to stretching our ability to help the city succeed in this housing quest. However, the Barnes Fund is currently in the Metro budget at only $15 million, going against the recommended UHS study of $30 million, And this will reduce our ability to produce housing at by 50%. We call on the administration, Metro Council, not y'all, but we're really encouraging y'all on this one, to fund the Barnes Fund at the $30 million this year per the Unified Housing Strategy. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Eddie. Dr. Hubbard?
Next, we have Mark Wright with Be a Helping Hand Foundation.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. And again, I want, just like my Sheri and Eddie, I really want to thank what you have done. Without the Barnes funds, our projects wouldn't happen. The funds from the Barnes Fund are typically the first money into our project. And then our leverage, our capital stack starts with MDHA Home, CITC, and other funds. So we really need, and I understand a lot of organizations that do similar work really rely on the Barnes Fund. We really want to push, I know, commissioners, you can only do so much in asking how much we can receive. And right now we're at 15 million, which is a lot compared to when we started. I think the first round, which we were one of the recipients, I think it was $3 million in 2015. So now we're at 15 million. So that's great. 30 million would be awesome. But let me kind of lay out the difference between 2015 and 2025, especially when it comes to infill. And that's one of the things I see that may go to the wayside, especially without the Barnes Fund, infill development. In the city, single lots, R6, and we do large families, so that's one of the things that we concentrate on. In 2025, you could purchase an infill lot in North Nashville, zone R6, to build 2 families for $10,000 and at the most maybe $20,000. To build a house, 1,600 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, almost under $200,000. Now let's fast forward 10 years. That same lot is almost $300,000. So it's not 10 times, it's not 20 times, it's 30 times the cost. And that's not factoring in the house. To build a house, 1,600 to 1,800 square feet, a little over $400,000, and that's with a garage. And we're talking about not a garage, a carport. So now you're looking at 150 plus 4 something, you almost at $600,000 just to build a house in the inner city of Nashville. So 3 million compared to 30 million, it's not the same. The cost has gone up so much that we need more than 30 million. Just continue on. And so I understand it's about how many units we can get out there, and I do believe we need home ownership, we need apartments, we need all that. But we also need units in the inner city. And I just hate to see that go to the wayside because the cost is so surmountable that you cannot afford to build. And we are doing everything we can to continue that. And I'm going to be honest, it is a struggle. And see, we're not here charging $25,000, $3,000, $4,500, $5,000 for rent. We're under $2,000 for rent. Sometimes starting out at $1,250, $1,300, $1,400 a month. So we have to pair that with actual bank money. And so when you start looking at how much the cost that is on top of the grant funds, it almost makes it impossible to continue to build inside the city. So, and we don't have the free land like we used to years ago. So I know my 2 minutes is probably up, but I just want to make sure that just how important your job is and what you do. I appreciate it so much. And without it, we would not be here today. And all the families that we support and bring affordable housing to, I'm pretty sure if I line up in that room, they'd be like, hey, y'all need to continue this. Because without it, they wouldn't have the housing they have today. So I appreciate you. I thank you. Whatever we need to do to support you in this mission, let us know, because that's what we're here for. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mark. Director.
Next, we have Andrea Prince with Rebuilding Together Nashville.
Hello, Andrea Prince with Rebuilding Together Nashville. I just want to thank all of you on the commission to start, of course. You all have been so responsive and listening to everything over this past year, and I know it's been a long journey, and we're so thankful. And so I'm also so grateful that you continue listening. And as we are coming up and asking for 30 million in Barnes funds, what impact that makes. And, you know, I've been so grateful to be a part of this group of affordable housing folks who you see, we're all from different areas and aspects. And for us, we're representing the preservation of affordable housing and home repairs. And what the Barnes Fund does for us to be able to do those repairs, you know, last year we did around 57 projects, $1 million in repairs, 300 individual repairs, you know, across those homes. We're working with older adults and people who really don't have any other option or opportunity to, you know, make sure that they are safe and healthy in their homes. And so it is because of the Barnes Fund that we've been able to do the work that we have and to also bring in, you know, other partners that not just addresses the home repairs, but all of the other issues that people have around wraparound services. So food scarcity, you know, financial issues. We are working towards launching estate planning. And so all of this is, you know, it's not just the home repair, it's looking at the holistic nature of it. And so that is what the Barnes Fund has enabled us to do and serve areas of the community that have been historically underserved. So we are so grateful, and we want to continue doing the work, and we want to do more of it. But the way that we get to do more of it is if there's more resources available. So we are also, you know, doing our due diligence and, you know, trying to fundraise in all the ways that we can. But it really is the power of those first dollars in from Barnes that help us leverage so much more funding going forward. So thank you for continuing to listen, and to staff and to the Housing Division, everyone. We're so grateful that we have a city that has a fund like this. And we just ask that it is funded to the level that we need it, and probably not even that. But so just thank you for your time, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, Andrea.
Kelsey Miller with Holiday Ventures.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kelsey Miller, and I'm with Holiday Ventures. Thank you all for giving us the opportunity to speak today. So I want to say, as a Nashville native, I've been proud to watch our city grow and really boom over the last decade. But that same growth has created a level of housing pressure that is now impossible to ignore. We are no longer simply facing an affordability challenge, we are in an affordable housing crisis. Young professionals who want to build their lives here can't afford to live independently. Families are being pushed further and further from the city that they work. Seniors on fixed incomes are becoming severely cost burdened, forced into impossible decisions between paying rent and paying for necessary health care. You all, as the housing leaders of the city, have the ability to influence whether Nashville becomes a place where people of all incomes can remain and thrive, or a place where longtime residents are priced out of their own community. For that reason, we respectfully request that you advocate for the full $30 million allocation for the next Barnes Fund grant round as recommended by UHS. This level of investment is not only appropriate, but necessary to meet the scale of the moment. Thank you all for your time and continued commitment to Nashville's future.
Thank you, Kelsey. Dr. Hubbard.
Mike Hodgej with NOAA.
I'm Mike Hodgej, a member of Edge Hill United Methodist Church and of the NOAA Affordable Housing Task Force. NOAA's been advocating since 2015 for more money for the Barnes Fund, and we've been successful along the way. So we're back again today to say that this is a really important thing. I came to Nashville in 1975 to go to school, and one of my professors was Bill Barnes, the guy that the Affordable Housing Trust Fund is named for. He's also the founding pastor of Edge Hill United Methodist. When I graduated, I got a job working in various challenged neighborhoods around town, working with neighborhood organizations. One of those neighborhood groups, I helped them to create, out of an old building, to create 5 apartments for low-income families. It took us 3 years, but it was a wonderful achievement. I was really excited about it. However, this neighborhood is Wedgwood, Houston, and Wedgwood, Houston now has almost nothing affordable in that neighborhood except for those 5 units. So when I look back, I'm really proud of what we did, but I know the scale of what was needed wasn't there. So that's really what I wanted to talk to you about today, is the scale. You've already heard that the Unified Housing Strategy calls for $30 million every year into the Barnes Fund. Well, if we're just putting 16 like we did last year, we're shortchanging ourselves. We're shortchanging not just the impact of the Barnes money itself, but also the matching money that nonprofits can generate. You've heard the figure mentioned. I had heard $9 for every $1 from the Barnes Fund. Well, if we shortchange the Barnes Fund $14 million, that means we're shortchanging Nashville $126 million in matching funds. So I just really want to encourage you to ask the mayor and the council and your next door neighbor, I don't care, to be able to put $30 million in this thing. Otherwise, we're going backwards. We see it every day. We don't need to go backwards anymore. We've got to get to scale so we can deal with the housing crisis that you've been hearing about. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Josh Hasten, LDG Development.
Good afternoon. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate everything that you guys do. I serve on Nashville's Industrial Development Board as well, and I don't think people realize how much work you guys put into this. You helped reviewed 70 applications last round. That's pretty wild all the time. And I don't think some of the leaders that appointed you to this position actually understand the amount of work that it takes to love our communities well. So I just want to really lift you guys up and say you guys are doing a great job. What I would also encourage you to do is continue to be the working board that you already are. The working board that voices concerns to our leaders that appointed you to do the jobs that you're already doing. So I would encourage you guys to continue to do what you're doing. I would also encourage us to follow our own documents. As Eddie mentioned, we have been advocating for years to help our neighbors. And if we're not consistent with our own documents, what does that say about us as a city? Not only does it hinder ourselves, as Mike Hodgej mentioned, in terms of hurting the match funding that it could provide, but it also helps, or it prevents us from doing the work out there as the development community, because we're planning budgets based on what we think Barnes might put forward. If we think there's a chance that we're going to get an allocation, we're going to take on more risk, that we're going to be able to put forward potentially a 200-unit deal. But if we don't know that there's consistency in funding, there's going to be fewer people like us at the table. And so that $126 million that's referenced is going to drop. You're going to have less people at the table helping do the work that we know needs to happen. So I'd really encourage you to continue supporting, making that request to Metro Council. I know you guys don't, except for Berkeley, don't allocate the budget. So I would just encourage you to just do what you're required, or what you've been asked to do, and make your voices known. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Director?
Mick Nelson, Nelson Community Partners.
Hey, everybody. Mick Nelson, great seeing you. Thank you for all you do. Ditto to everything's already been said. Thank you very much.
Okay. Kay Bowers, Noah.
Hi, everyone. He took the words out of my mouth. But just for context, I worked in the affordable housing industry for over 28 years. In the last 14 years, we're here in Nashville. I am one that carries stories with me of all the kids and the individuals and the older adults whose lives have been impacted from an investment in helping them stay safely and securely housed. So my colleagues, who I have great respect and love for, sometimes they would be reticent to come forward, but I said, you must come forward. We must be the voices We have to be the voices. Because if we're not, our elected and our public officials, they won't know. They won't hear. And so they don't share a lot of those stories with you, but I know their stories. And I know what it takes to put these deals together. And I know the impact on our children and our families and our older adults that we're trying to keep housed safely and securely. So what I'm asking from you is to be another voice. To be another voice for our city. To help persuade our decision makers to allot the necessary funding that we need, starting with $30 million, to help move us forward to where we can be at some kind of scale and predictability. Because for our organizations, which are businesses, to stay in business, they need predictability. And as Josh shared with you, when there's that much uncertainty, we're going to lose the ones that have done all this work for us. And we don't want to let that happen. So, no pressure. I thank you for all your work here. I'll share stories with you. They have stories to share with you because I have the visions of the kids and the families and the senior adults, and they do also. And when you replace the word unit with homes and units and replace the word numbers with people and faces, it changes how we look at things. And so I'd like for us to think this way. And the last thing is, you have a big job. And so I want to thank you for your work and your time and your willingness to listen and invest probably more time than you have. But I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank Director Hubbard and her staff for all the work that they have done since she's come on board. And I look forward to seeing what's next in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Kay. Director Hubbard?
And finally, we have Terry Rapun with Westminster.
Well, of course, I agree with everything that's been said, but I really came with a couple of other things I wanted to give you an update on. One is the Round 13 and the Round 15 grant that Westminster has. The Round 13 grant is about 13 months old and about 18 months old, and we have finished our Round 14 grant early for owner-occupied houses. We have 40 houses that were at risk that we have now completed, and they're safe and functional for those families for years to come. Just as we finished that grant, we had an ice storm. And because Westminster is both a 501c3 and a licensed home improvement contractor, we made our staff available to go out and repair plumbing leaks to mitigate damage throughout the community. We made available to VOED. We're a member of VOED. Now we're in Round 15, and we are actively in 15. We have actually completed our first phase of homes, and we'll be submitting our first draw shortly, as soon as I get a chance to review it. But what I wanted to say is we also know that coming out of Ice Storm Fern, there are many, many homes that have been damaged that have not been repaired. Most of those homes, and I know this because we came out of the flood of 2010, we led the recovery construction teams in March of 2020. And although our mission is repairs and modifications for older adults and people with disabilities, we do, in times of disaster, extend to the community. And for Ice Storm Fern, we are going to become a referral partner and take referrals for older adults and people with disabilities, because that is our core mission. We know that I would say probably 80% of the people who have damages who can't recover are going to be older adults or people with major health problems. So we are available for that, and we are going to use Barnes 15 for some of the larger repairs as well as other funders. And that is a part of an example of having a resource in the community that can get out on the ground, make repairs immediately. We also are fortunate in that because we have had such a tangible result and people see it, we have had some community members that have stepped up and have funded us to do an additional 80 homes this year. So we will go from 316 homes that we repaired in 2020 2025 to almost 400 in 2026 with community funding. So we expect to continue to be here, continue to grow. Barnes is a major part of our large home repairs, but we have other funders too that are actively and very committed to affordable housing in the community.
Thank you, Terry. All right, I think that concludes our public comment list. Thank you very much, Director Hubbard, for getting that for us. And I'll turn it back over to you, Director, for the financial update to look through the February 2026 budget to actuals. For commissioners, this should be in your packet as well as on the screen behind me.
Okay, you will see that for February, we had a total of $253,792 drawn or expended, with the bulk of that of $252,590 paying out in grants. We are moving a lot of invoices through now, and we'll have some substantial numbers to report at our next meeting. So our grantees are really moving right along and submitting draw requests. So we look forward to showing you that progress next month.
Great. Thank you for that report. Any questions from the commission? All right, seeing none, we'll move up to item number 5 on our agenda. We have one item here. This is the Inspiritus re-grant contract. I'll turn it back over to Director Hubbard to walk us through this contract.
Thank you. This is before you, unfortunately, due to an administrative error from last month. We had presented for your approval Amendment 3 to extend the Inspiritus grant contract for a term of 48 months. That was actually incorrect. It should have been Amendment 4 to extend for the term of 60 months. Because the commission made a formal vote, it requires the commission to, we couldn't make this change administratively. Unfortunately, due to the timing though, this contract will expire before we can go to council with approval. So instead of an amendment to the original contract, we need to do a new contract, which we're calling a re-grant contract, to allocate the amount of funds that haven't been spent to date. So the original award was for $2.5 million. Inspiritus has already expended $1.5 million, leaving a balance of $1 million. That would be for this re-grant contract. They are well, I mean, if you drive by, you can see that it is, a lot of construction is already underway and completed. And so they are progressing according to their timeline. So we recommend approval of this re-grant contract.
All right, thank you for the overview. Are there any questions from the commission? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve? And so this, to clarify, this motion is to grant the re-grant contract for Inspiritus. Is that the proper language? No. All right, we have a proper motion. Is there a second? Second. We have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Ayes have it. Thank you very much, Director. Now moving on to item number 6. We have 2 items here. The first of these is the quarterly progress report presentation. This is the colorful part of your packet you should all have in front of you, as well as perhaps something that's going to be behind me on the screen. Turn it back over to you, Director Hubbard.
Thank you. I would like to introduce Jamie Pennington to you. She is our Housing Trust Fund Coordinator. I believe you were at no, you haven't been to a meeting yet. Jamie is going to walk you through an overview of the progress report that distills what the packet has. You have the individual contracts. This is the summary.
All right, Jamie.
Thank you, Director Hubbard. So commissioners, you have the individual data in front of you, but for everyone else, we would like to break down the individual data by round. So far, we have awarded $191,396,657. Out of that, $111,692, the period in the wrong plot, 992 and 27 cents has been expended. Of that, the Barnes units or Barnes homes that have been funded is 6,585. We've awarded 131 contracts. Out of that, 80 contracts have been completed, and we have 51 contracts that are left open.
Great, thank you, Jamie. I think that since we've been doing these quarterly reports, these are one of the most helpful packets that staff puts together. I find these very informative and very laid out in a way that's really easy to understand. So, at least speaking for myself, I really appreciate these. But with that presentation, I'll see if there's any questions or comments from the commission. Councilor Lady Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is great information. I love having it all in one sheet. Do we know the amounts of the total job? We've heard so much about how much is leveraged. It would be really powerful, I think, to have that total as well. Does that exist somewhere?
Yes, we have that data and can show the leveraged amount or can provide you with the leveraged amount as well.
That'd be great. Thank you.
And also, if I could take a minute to plug, we have a housing dashboard. Thank you, council member. And Emma Foley is our new data analyst who's working on an overhaul, but you can actually see a lot of breakdown of our Barnes performance data and sort it in different ways, and including where in the city Barnes Fund projects have been located. So if you haven't been to our housing dashboard that you can find on our website, that gives you even more information on our progress.
All right, good question. Any other questions or comments from commission members? All right, appreciate that. Next up on item 6 is B, which is the fiscal year 2027 budget request. We've received a number of public comments related to this matter, but want to bring this up for the commission. This was based on a request at our February meeting to discuss the budget. As I think we're aware that the budget process is ongoing, and the state of, we may have this memorized, Council Lady, the state of Metro is coming up at the end of this month, end of April.
Yes.
Right.
It has to happen by May 1.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember which commission member made the request for the approval. I'm sorry?
She said it's her, right? I just asked for it.
Oh, yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. So on this budget request, I think that we've certainly heard from the general public and from the stakeholders in the room with us about the importance of the funding. I know Council Lady understands that as well, and we'll take that to the other council members. I think that a matter for us to discuss is just to understand as a commission where we are in this conversation in terms of where we are situated to make our voices or our intentions and preferences known, and where's the most appropriate place for us to extend our efforts if we choose to do that as a commission. It's my understanding that other commissions do not formally vote to take action or to make a statement with regard to their budgets. I think that so that would be something I would just point out. If there's any questions about that, I'm happy for that to be discussed further. I think that we've either heard or otherwise have been made aware that $30 million is a request, and I suppose if it's okay with staff, just to clarify where that process is in terms of the budget request, that $30 million or an amount thereabouts was made, and where that is in the process.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, as part of the Planning Department's budget, we have included a request for $30 million for the Barnes Fund. There are a couple of processes we go through as Metro. One is internal meetings with OMB prior to the mayor issuing his budget on or around May 1st. And then during it's usually in May, council holds budget hearings for departments, and then planning, again, will have a budget hearing before council where we will also publicly discuss our budget request.
All right, thank you very much, Director. Are there any questions at this point in time?
I did have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so last year,
last round was about 35 million, correct?
Correct. And but that was not that was not FY '26 money, that was FY '25.
25, yes. And this round, right now, we're at 19, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the ask is 11.
Now, the ask is 30 for a new fiscal year.
Oh, okay, so,
So we ask for new money every fiscal year.
yes.
So we asked for 30 million for FY '26. We got 16 million. We have 3 million in what's called fund balance, which is where a project's been deobligated and that stays in the queue. So we're not asking for an additional 11, we're asking for 30 million of new dollars.
Okay, on top of.
On top
of the 19.
Yeah, because when we open round 16, that'll move the 19 million out and into what we call obligations when we award contracts. And then we want a new round of funding for round 17 to be 30 million.
Perfect, so the ask is for round 17 and not for round 16?
Correct, yes.
Perfect, that's all I need to know.
All right, yes, Council Eddie.
So precedent is that commissions generally don't make asks. And I appreciate precedent. Is there a law prohibiting that, or is there a reason that it would be bad to do that?
So if that question is for me, the department has already made its ask. Generally, what I see is board members come to council when it's voting on the budget or, when the planning's budget hearing happens in front of Budget and Finance. That's usually when commission members show up, because the department has already made its ask. And so there's not really a mechanism for you all to like double down and make the ask again. You know what I mean?
Okay. That's another question. Thank you. So just to clarify then, I appreciate that clarification. I believe there are many, many, many council members who will be committed to this 30 million. And the budget process, as most people know, starts with the mayor's budget, which is a balanced budget, and then the council can move things around, but we have to keep it as a balanced budget. And so if there is not the 30 million for the barns in the mayor's budget, we will have to take it from some other place to put it into the Barnes Fund. Often, there is a little bit of money hidden in some contingency or something, and we can move small amounts around. Last year, it was the best we could do to find that 3 million that was deobligated and ensure that it stayed there. It probably would have anyway, but it was a feel-good to be able to say that, so I appreciate Director Hubbard humoring me on that. And so I would say, I see important things that need to be done. It will be very helpful to have all supporters to come at the council level if it is necessary at that point. It is so much more effective if we can get it into the budget in the first place. And again, we've had the hearing, pre-budget hearing already. That happened in February, I guess, this year, and there were advocates there saying it. But I don't think we can say it too many times, and I think, I just want people to be aware that right now, letters that I'm getting asking the council to put this money in are great. Send those again after May 1 when the budget has come out, because that's when we'll have to do our work. But if we can communicate with the folks who are putting together the budget right now, that assures that it actually happens. So what I'm hearing is it's not necessarily appropriate for us as a council, as a commission, to write a formal letter. I would love to see that happen, but I will acknowledge what's appropriate and what's not. I don't know whether as individuals, it is appropriate for us to write our mayor and just let our opinion be known.
Sure, I think that's totally appropriate. If, everyone on this commission and everyone in the audience wants to send a letter, I think that's totally appropriate. There's just not really a mechanism for this body as a whole to petition the mayor, because it's already been done through that process.
Gotcha. And I will certainly thank the planning department for doing that through the official channels.
Thank you, Council.
Thank
Any
you.
other comments?
I was going to say just on behalf of the developers, I'm sure it's something they've been seeing trending, that the kind of dependence on CITC is kind of down as well. I know from my institution personally, most of us are full, so a lot of that money is not out there right now. So any money that we definitely can allocate to those guys is definitely going to be a lot more beneficial. So like I said, CITC is pretty much based on state tax. Most of us are full through 2027, and I'm pretty good friends with most of the bankers around here. And from a federal banking standpoint, from LITEC, that's federal taxes. We all know our federal taxes all went down, so that's another thing that probably is going to drop here. So that mechanism is going to be kind of reducing as well. So just kind of adding my support to those guys, because I know it's kind of a little harder to find out the mechanisms to fill up those capital stacks here currently. So
Appreciate that. All right, well, appreciate everyone's comments, everyone's intention on this. I think that I would echo a lot of the comments made from the audience in terms of the importance of the Barnes Fund funding for a lot of our partners. I think that we all know that we are in a place as a community where the need for more housing typologies and different price points is more important than ever. And we understand the importance that every dollar brings to the table. I think that we've laid out our marching orders in terms of where we as commissioners, if we do feel compelled, we can reach out to the administration at this point and express our voices there. Once that state of Metro occurs and the budget is released by the administration, we certainly have marching orders at that point then to then take our statements and our advocacy to the Metro Council and to the meetings.
Or to say thank you.
And to say thank you, certainly. And also, we'll go ahead and say thank you to Director Hubbard and her staff for their work in ensuring that the Metro planning budget did include the full amount recommended by the UHS. And so we appreciate the work that y'all put together, both for that and for all the activities around this commission. Yes, you may.
Sorry, it was a great ending statement. I apologize for my timing. Since we have a new data analyst, is it possible that there is data out there that shows spending avoided when people are safely and securely housed? To me, it's always powerful to be able to say, if you put this money in this part of your budget, then you won't have to have as much in this part of your budget. Do we have that data?
We do not have that data. We have not analyzed Metro's budget in its entirety.
Yeah.
We will be doing a more aligned, unified housing budget look at all of the requests across Metro that might further the unified housing strategy and the city's comprehensive or holistic investments. But it is really beyond our capacity as staff, because some of that we just don't have easy access to analyze how the impact of all the different budget items are across Metro.
Any other questions? Well, we are moving into the announcements period, and so I will take a point of personal privilege to announce that Council Lady, I believe, is celebrating a birthday today.
She is.
And so with that, you can ask as many questions as you want to today. No, but happy birthday. We appreciate you celebrating with us here today. We should have brought cake, but that was the chair's fault.
I'll get one at the women's box.
Yeah, all right. The first official announcement is the round 16 application release update. I'll turn it over to Director Hubbard for that.
Thank you. We're excited to be getting closer, hopefully within the next couple to few weeks, getting that released, moving forward with Zoom grants, working on completing those application guidelines and then testing it to make sure the system works, and then setting up all the different meetings, including technical assistance meetings, since this will be new to everyone, including staff, as well as the applicants. But we will make sure, if you haven't signed in, please sign in, that we have you on our list, so that when we do that release, not only will it be on our website, but we will do a broad publication and notification to folks that are on our email distribution list to publicize the opening of round 16.
All right, we're looking forward to that. Appreciate that update. Next under announcements is the CHIP presentation with Travis. Travis, we'll go ahead and turn things over to you.
Well, can everyone hear me?
Sounds good, sounds good. Well, I've seen a lot of you before, but just to introduce myself, I'm Travis Miller, the Housing Policy and Program Coordinator here with Metro. I'm going to talk today about one of our programs that isn't the Barnes Fund, which is the Connecting Housing to Infrastructure Program, or otherwise known as CHIP.
Travis, sorry, quick question. Oh, the monitors that are facing us are not working? Is anyone else's? And,
Okay.
Yeah, in the meantime, and one more quick question. Do you prefer questions as we go through, or do you want us to wait till the end?
Let's wait to the end, and then just to make sure that we can get through everything. So hold questions to the end. Happy to stay for them, but just want to make sure that the flow goes.
Thank you.
Cool. So, quick overview, do an introduction to the program, how it enhances infrastructure in communities, why it matters for your project, and then how to get started and looking forward as well. So what is CHIP? We're all here with the Barnes Fund, which funds sticks and bricks construction, gets the homes on the parcels. But there's more to a community than just the housing unit itself, and that's kind of where CHIP comes in. So Metro also desires the neighborhoods, regardless of income, have the infrastructure available to them so that they can enjoy their neighborhood and so that they can go and make community within it themselves. So we aim to deliver high quality neighborhood assets by partnering with the folks in this room, you affordable housing developers, to share the cost of enhanced infrastructure. Next slide. And why this program has come to you all is that we know that affordable housing budgets are very, very tight. Every cent matters, and there really isn't room to add additional funding towards a hawk signal that might be the highest and top level signal when your budget only has space for PHB or pedestrian hybrid beacon. But we would love to have the same safety that communities with hawk signals and the funding for market rate development allows to have hawk signals in our affordable housing complexes as well. So CHIP comes in to kind of bridge that gap between what you are required to put in with your affordable housing project, going through NDOT standards, and then tacking on maybe some Cadillac level infrastructure there. So it is important to note that those base requirements are still required, and then this funding comes in to go above and beyond that. So for eligibility, if you are creating affordable housing that has units income restricted for families and households at or below 80% of the area median income, you're good. These income restricted units must also have that compliance. So if you're here in Barnes, your Barnes Fund has compliance there. And then at the end of the construction, you just have to agree to deed that infrastructure back to NDOT for future and ongoing maintenance and control. And so how does it enhance infrastructure and your communities? So I'll break it up into kind of the qualifying enhancements, and I'll do a bit of a preface here. This is not an exhaustive list. We'd love to continue to be creative and look for new ways to bring that Cadillac level infrastructure. But some ideas include improved or upgraded bus stops, upgraded mobility infrastructure, and such as crosswalks or those hawk signals that I was bringing up earlier, lighting upgrades, and general connectivity in areas where there isn't much connectivity. And so where do we hope to put these investments? In our high priority areas, such as the highly vulnerable or high injury areas. And so where you can find what those areas are, you can go to NDOT's Vision Zero data dashboard. It's a great resource to look at where there's high injury networks, where there's high fatality networks, and that's kind of where we want to prioritize these investments to make the most bang for our buck here and getting the most safety and connectivity in areas where it's evidently not currently present. Cool. And so just a background on the funding, where it comes from. So this spawns from two $2 million investments through the 2020 and 2021 capital spending plan. And we've actually had 3 projects come through the CHIP program so far. One was a hawk signal that I had mentioned with the Skyliner on Dickerson Pike. So that one's already completed, up and running, and residents are utilizing it. But we have one under construction along Nolensville Pike with a signalized crosswalk so that an apartment complex that's coming just off of Nolensville Pike can have access to and from that complex, and the bus stops there as well, and just kind of general connectivity along that pike as well. And then one that has received staff approval and that we're working towards bringing to council is traffic calming and signalized crosswalks at 900 Cleveland, also on Dickerson Pike there. And so this, I would say, is a great example of going above just including a signal, looking at how traffic calming and other infrastructure investments can improve the area that this 900 Cleveland project is situated at. And so this is the good news. We still have a lot of funding remaining. We have around $2,933,895.75. So we are excited and hopeful to see more applications come our way so that we can utilize that funding, and so it doesn't just sit in our bank account here. So to give an overview of those previously approved projects, I had mentioned the hawk signal and signalized crosswalks. You can see in that picture, it's a little hard to see with the lighting, that hawk signal. You can see the bus stop in the lower right-hand corner. And prior to that signal, that crossing across that street was not as safe as it is currently. And so those are the types of investments that we would like to see the CHIP program invest in. So we can go to the next slide. And why it matters for your projects. So for multiple reasons, I said that it's a gap funding to get to that higher level infrastructure, and it reduces the burden or the hold that you have to put on your capital stack to be able to live up to that standard and still be able to have high quality infrastructure. One thing that we like to see in affordable housing is how beautiful and how amazing it is for the communities that it goes into. And so if we can help you provide that, then we are in a good partnership and relationship with you as the developer and us here at Metro. And so to get started in kind of a program timeline, what we call pre-application, and this can be one pathway, meeting with NDOT to identify where maybe enhanced infrastructure improvements could be put in when you're doing your design review. But if you want to go even before that, you can come to us here at Metro, express your interest in this program, and then rather than creating designs and then having to scrap those and make new designs, hit the ground running right away with those designs in mind. We'd be happy to get you in contact with our folks over at NDOT so that we can have a more holistic conversation around what those investments might look like prior to paying for those plans. And then once that pre-application period is over, we're coming into application. You can find the application on our website at nashville.gov, and you'll submit your application directly to us, not to NDOT, but to us at metrohousing@nashville.gov. But we would ask that you include in that application, to be a complete application, documentation that these improvements do go above and beyond what was standard or requested from NDOT. So that can look like a letter signed by NDOT that this is above and beyond what was on your, what would be required of you if you were just coming in without CHIP funding. And then also 3 competitive bids or a price analysis from your general contractor. We'll take a look at that application. If it receives staff approval, we will work with you as the developer to get the participation agreement drafted, work with Metro Legal, and then also work to get that to council. And so currently, participation agreements through the Connecting Housing to Infrastructure program do have to be approved by council as an ordinance with 3 readings. And so we are happy to help shepherd that participation agreement through council. And we'll say, yay, they approved it. Let's go on to the next step. That's where you come in to complete the work. And I should have mentioned this earlier. What we found that works best is if you come into this deal or this project with these investments in mind or these enhancements in mind, then you're going to be doing the infrastructure at the same time as your general contractor is out there doing your affordable housing project as well. So you don't have to bring your general contractor back out if the timing all works out that way. So you'll complete the work, NDOT will come out and inspect it, sign off on it. It'll be deeded back to Metro, and then you'll request the reimbursement that is outlined in that participation agreement. And then that's project closeout. You don't have to be in charge of maintaining that signal, and we'll take over from there. So I know that was a pretty quick overview, and I said I'll be here for questions. But what this slide says, let's work together. You can always reach out to me at travis.miller@nashville.gov if you have any questions or if you're interested in this program. Happy to set up any time to chat, or if you have ideas, get a meeting set up, and we can look to meet with NDOT as well to see what could be going on at your site. So that QR code will bring you right to the CHIP webpage on nashville.gov. But if you reach out to me, I'll happy to get you connected.
Thank you, Travis.
Yeah.
Let's start with questions or comments from the commission, and then if we have time, we'll open up to the audience.
Is there a timeline when these funds need to be expended?
There is not. We have that 2,900,000 and some change left over, and we do not have a spend by date. We would love to spend it up so that we can continue to ask for more and see more projects come to fruition, but there's no closeout date.
I guess one quick question, is it the project developer who comes to you with an idea, or does the idea of how to treat a situation, obviously it's probably like a safety situation, is that going to be determined by NDOT or with your collaboration, or who determines whether it ends up being like what? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I'll rephrase the question to make sure that I am understanding. Does the developer have to come to us and initiate that process, or get sign off on like this idea to move forward with the enhancement? Is that kind of the?
Yeah, or I guess just if I'm a developer, I have a project, and I think it'd be great to have a crosswalk with XYZ amenities that I think based on, what I believe are the safest elements of infrastructure. Then I propose that to you, and then in the negotiations, NDOT may very well come back and say, actually, we prefer to do it this way instead.
Yes, and so that's where, if you come right to us, we're happy to get into contact with the team that we work with over at NDOT. They'll take a look at that idea, those plans. If you have them drawn up, there's no obligation to have them completely drawn up at that time, especially so early on into that conversation. But if you can come to us with your ideas, and we'll workshop them with NDOT, see if there's anything that we might even go a little bit further, or if there are any restrictions outside of a good idea, maybe this corridor doesn't have the sidewalks necessary for this improved crosswalk that you want, and you don't want to do the sidewalks at all. So that's just an example where they can work with NDOT and their engineering team and their planning team to think of what could be the best use there, but you don't need to have those ideas in mind. We've also tried in the past, referencing the high fatality or high injury network, tried to find Barnes projects or other affordable housing projects that we could maybe do proactive outreach. So if there's, say, in round 16, something is approved in a high priority area, maybe we get into contact with that developer to see, have you thought of including enhanced infrastructure here? Maybe what we can bring NDOT in to see what they would love to see go there if they kind of had a blank check and all the capacity to go out there. So kind of a lot of different routes, but we're happy to kind of be that liaison and that kind of project manager through that process.
I appreciate that.
Is this just on new development, or could a community kind of get together and identify a developer and say we want this investment or in our infrastructure? And is it at cost? I'm trying to see what the incentive would be for like a developer to even go a little step further. So.
Yeah, so the way that the program is set up is with new construction, so that the general contract, like the benefit to the developer is that you're adding this infrastructure in while you're already out doing your affordable housing project, and then the developer doesn't have to come out of pocket for the above and beyond infrastructure as well. And so it does connect with new construction for those types of improvements.
And if I could clarify, sometimes NDOT asks developers to do enhanced infrastructure as part of a rezoning or another situation, but that's not typically carried in a pro forma, so that's what this is intended to help. Is that right?
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate that. Any other questions from the commission? All right, well, if there are questions from those here in the audience today, Travis, you indicated you'll be hanging around for a few minutes afterwards. I'd encourage you to find Travis afterwards and ask him your specific questions. So we appreciate you sticking around for a little bit. I think we've reached the end of our announcements. The only thing left for me to say is that our next meeting will be April 28th at 2 p.m. right here at the Sonny West room. So without any other announcements from commission members, seeing none, I believe is there a motion to adjourn? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All right, we are adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.